Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump will go down in history as a one-term president. And what an unforgettable term it's been. He took office promising to fight for America.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
Based on the policies he pursued in the 4 years he had, America first seemed to mean America alone. He quickly picked fights over trade, not just with China, but with traditional allies in North America, Europe, and Asia. Under his leadership, the US left the Paris Climate Accord and the Iran nuclear deal. And Trump took the US out of the World Health Organization in the middle of a pandemic. On the domestic front, Trump spent his first year in office pushing through a $1.5 trillion tax cut.
It's the largest, I always say the most massive, but it's the largest tax cut in the history of our country, and reform, but tax cut.
It boosted markets and economic growth in the 2 years that followed. But that was before COVID-19, which Trump's government failed to contain. America's reported more than 24 million cases, the most in the world. Trump himself caught the disease that's killed 400,000 people in the US. It's also undone many of the economic gains the US made early in Trump's term.
Before the pandemic, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world.
But analysts say history will remember Trump most for what he did at the end. The president was impeached for a historic second time, Congress charging him with inciting the mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol.
I think the historical judgments are going to be severe and quite ugly.
He won't be known for tax cuts. He won't be known for trade deals. He won't be known for peace accords in the Middle East. He will be known for terrorism and racism.
Trump's presidency ends with his nation divided and isolated, struggling to cope with an economic crisis. What a difference 4 years can make. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
Well, for more on this, let's go to Mickey Levy in New York. He's the chief economist for the US and Asia at Berenberg Capital Markets. Welcome back to the program, Mickey. Now, it's been a tumultuous 4 years, to say the least, under Donald Trump, culminating in the pandemic that's killed around 400,000 Americans and ravaged the US economy. Looking at the economic damage for the purposes of this program, has it been exacerbated by Donald Trump's handling of the crisis?
I would say yes. Certainly the administration, and it's not just President Trump, but it's the CDC and NIH that have really not provided the appropriate guidance. Also, you have to toss in there, state governments have absolutely bungled it. Has it been costly? Absolutely yes. But I would like to make the following point. With the exception of China, the US has already bounced back more than any other country. The unemployment rate is 6.7%. There's been an unprecedented amount of monetary and fiscal stimulus. And while I understand that all of the focus now is on the absolutely rancorous politics in Washington and the social stresses, the U.S. still stands out as the strongest economy in the world with the best future among all advanced nations, and that's not going to change.
Yes, and at its peak, the US economy under Donald Trump boasted a couple of significant achievements. One of them was one of the best job markets in decades, with unemployment at a 50-year low in 2019. The stock market was also going gangbusters before the pandemic, but as we know, the crisis changed all that. Unemployment soared to almost double what it was a year ago. Is there anything more Donald Trump could have done to cushion the economic blow from this crisis?
Well, certainly, if it had been better organized from the top, with coordination between the administration and the various states, then I think you could have mitigated some of the problem. But if you look around the world, only a few countries stand out with really good track records on this terrible pandemic. And unfortunately, the U.S. has been, bungled its way through it. And, it'll come out of it, but it just has revealed the weaknesses, and not just the weaknesses in President Trump, which have been well documented, but the weaknesses in the organizational structure of some of the key administrative roles. And I think President Biden will address some of those, which will be very positive.
Yeah, let's talk more about that because, as we know, Barack Obama inherited an economy that was pummeled by the financial crisis in 2009. Joe Biden will take charge of a country that's in even worse shape, economically speaking. What does Joe Biden need to do in order to get the country back on track?
Well, of course, even before Biden comes in, you have Congress that is pushing for more fiscal support for individuals that have been harmed in small businesses, and that those monies are already flowing through, and they will help. And Biden will try to accelerate and pump more money into the economy. A lot of that is going to end up being recognized as not necessary. The Fed is also providing more than enough liquidity. I would say one of the big changes, if we step away from, once again, all the polemics, is, Trump has been, extraordinarily undiplomatic, very aggressive and combative, both domestically and internationally, whereas Biden will take a much more conciliatory approach. And that's going to create calm, but don't expect that everything's going to be smooth going forward. It won't be. There will continue to be international problems and skirmishes. Once again, as you pointed out, not only did the unemployment rate hit a 50-year low in the U.S. before the pandemic, it was the lowest rate for minorities, for every group in the economy. So, it's easy to bash President Trump, and he made huge errors and was really an extraordinarily poor leader. But there were a lot of things that percolated positive, and Biden will be able to take advantage of those. And once again, if you look at, for example, the banking system and a whole bunch of other areas, yes, Biden comes in seemingly in a deep hole, but I would say the economy is in better shape now to recover and get back to where it was than Obama faced when he entered in early 2009.